Hey, everybody. I know it looks like we're just going to do another podcast, but you're wrong, you nerds. We're just going to talk about Infinity War for like 45 minutes.
45 hours, more like it. Spoilers abound. We are not holding anything back. So, here's 10 wonderful seconds of a shirtless Captain America. Do you feel it, guys? Do you feel heroic?
I'm excited.
Beautiful. All right, spoiler time is over. We are just going to go deep.
Wait, no. Spoiler time is just beginning.
Yes, it's shirtless time's over. Spoiler time begin.
Shirts on, spoilers out.
Get your clothes on, folks. You're going to need it because we're going to blow your pants off with what we're going to talk about.
And you need to have pants on to have them blown off.
Right.
Is what Tim's point is.
That's what I felt after seeing this film.
Yeah.
The 19th Marvel Cinematic Universe film is what we witnessed.
Yes.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Can you even, comprehend any other movie series that requires you to watch 18 films to get to this point?
No.
Do you feel...
There hasn't been one.
The closest I can think of was Cough Chronicles 6. No. James Bond, but it doesn't even, they're not all, connected.
No.
Star Wars, potentially, but, I mean... Even that is only 9 movies. Well, 8 at this point.
And most people say you don't have to watch the prequels.
You can, though.
You can, but I'm just saying it's not a requirement.
Right.
And there are some you can get away without watching, but I've been asked a variation of 2 questions. One, is it really necessary for me to have seen all of the previous MCU films? And 2, is it really necessary for me to have seen all of the films in the most recent wave? So like Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Spider-Man.
Yes.
To both questions, which I answer yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there are movies in the MCU that you don't have to have seen in order to watch this one.
Yeah, the most recent set of movies all connect to this one.
Yes,
so you
tightly.
Definitely should. Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Guardians 2,
Ragnarok,
and Civil War, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? That's part of, it's a very long wave. But all that being said, you really don't need to see some of the earlier ones, like sequels and stuff, like Iron Man 2.
That's what I was thinking.
Thor 2. But there are still little tidbits in all of them that make the characters who they are, how fleshed out they are. But, you guys are probably watching this because, A, you saw the movie, and B, you're a fan of it, so you already know all this. We don't have to explain it to you. The movie, as far just plain out, the movie itself, how was it? What did you think?
I thought it was unbelievable. I mean, I think I left the theater with similar feelings that I had when I left the theater seeing Avengers. Okay. Which was kind of like next level. I can't believe I just saw that. I want to watch it immediately afterwards again. Yep. And it was just kind of that level of excitement. Like definitely one of my best theater experiences in recent time.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. It is right up there next to Avengers. And Avengers, we were waiting a long time for Avengers. We knew it was coming, and we knew about Infinity War for years, 10 years at this point.
Yeah.
And yeah, same thing for me. I was blown away, goosebumps from beginning to end. It was such a cinematic experience. The movie is such a tragedy. I think it feels it feels way different from all the other Marvel movies because it's not afraid to take risks with their characters, with all of these characters.
There's so much tension from literally the moment the movie starts.
I would even say the first 5 minutes, you are that's it. A beloved character is gone.
So much so in the beginning that I kind of thought it was going to be like a dream sequence or something.
Oh,
when they were fighting, where are they at the beginning?
They're on the Asgardian ship at the end of Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, okay. Man, those are directly connected.
Yeah, exactly. So, spoiler for Thor Ragnarok as well. That movie ends with Thor and all the Asgardians on one ship after Asgard explodes. And so it's Loki, Thor, Heimdall, and everyone, Valkyrie, all those characters. They're all on the ship, and at the end they see this big, looming, ominous ship, and people figured out it was Thanos' ship. And so the movie, bam, right off the bat, the ship is being shot at, and they're like, Mayday, we're not a warship, we're not an enemy ship, don't shoot us. But they're still attacking, and you go inside the ship, and you see everyone's dead. You're freaking out, you know?
Yeah, it's a ridiculous. What I can't believe is that they did. Okay, so you've seen the Aliens movies?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
So you know how spoiler for Aliens.
This is spoilers for everything.
Every
Harry
movie
Potter,
ever.
Star Wars. Just watch out here.
You know how the end
Dumbledore,
of Aliens, Ripley? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what confuses me? Ridley Scott
And Ripley.
It drives me crazy.
So it's Ridley and Ripley Scott.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm pretty sure, isn't Ridley the dragon from Metroid? Spoilers for Metroid.
Yes. This is our best spoiler cast. Our first ever. You know, we're just covering our bases.
Let me just say this. The end of Aliens, there are some survivors that the third movie starts off and it's like, oh yeah, they died.
Yeah, by the way, everyone's gone. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
So Ragnarok ends. It's this
funny you made a connection to Aliens.
Crazy. Why?
Because Spider-Man in the movie is like, hey, have you seen
Aliens? Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. This really old movie.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was... I don't know, but it's
Space,
funny.
I guess.
It came up somewhere during the script, obviously. But yeah, the end of Ragnarok, they make this escape, and there's this big epic Asgard is not a place; it's its people.
Yep.
And then its people are dead.
It's gone. Now this, I'm gonna go off on a little tangent here.
Yeah, do it.
Thanos' his ideals is basically half the universe should be destroyed, should be killed off. It's just for the better of mankind, for the better of everything, for the universe. So there must be more Asgardians there because he blew up the ship.
Right.
So there must be other Asgardians around, or is Thor enough? Like, what is his thought process there?
So this is along the lines of an issue that a friend of mine brought up because they discuss in the film that Thanos has already attacked worlds previously. So he's already kind of chopped those populations in half, right? Right. So then when he snaps his fingers...
I don't think the other half would disappear. They would just be brought to a fourth.
But then doesn't that throw things out of balance again?
Potentially, because then there's way less people than there is resources to mine. If they're hunting, let's say the planet's full of animals and they need the people to fight the animals.
I just it kind of messes with the math that he talks about. But I suppose, the getaway there is when he snapped his fingers, it was just Thanos' will was done. Whatever numbers or math is involved in that. They spoke in absolutes the whole time, half this, half of that. So, but I don't know. That's a good point with the Asgardians because that was all of them, right? So
unless there were some escape pods, there's certainly theories, certainly potential ways people could survive. They just never talk about it. They just blow up the ship, and I'm like,
right,
there goes everyone.
But when they show him in the flashback at Gamora's
planet,
place of origin, they show them literally splitting the people in half, and which that's a heartbreaking scene. You see everyone on the right in mourning and everyone on the left being slaughtered.
The first time I saw it, I didn't even notice they split them in half. I thought it was everybody going to one side. I saw it again today, and I noticed it split in half, and like you said, mourning on one side, and they all see their loved ones get killed. It's deep.
It's so heavy. So I don't know. That's a good question, and that's one of... There are a couple flaws that I've had friends bring up and stuff. I'm pretty easy on movies in general. I like finding things like that as points of discussion. But there's only really one moment in the movie that threw me a little bit and I wasn't totally on board with, but we don't have to talk about quite yet. But in general, I think, in regards to the opening scene, one thing that is crazy is the... just the death of one of the best characters in the MCU.
It's a spoiler cast, so I'm going to say it. Loki's death
was
totally... I didn't even see it coming, man.
I guess I was trying to say I almost said over the top, but just, I guess in your face death of Loki. There's no, and granted, I think what happened here is so when a major character dies, there needs to be something, whether it's a big moment, a big build-up, a sacrifice, all this stuff. I think what they did to highlight Loki's death is the camera, you see the whole thing happen.
Yep.
You know what I mean? The camera doesn't leave. There's not the camera pans and you hear a snapping of a neck or something.
Silhouette of the character dying, which that happens a lot in all the Marvel movies. You know, people die off screen or whatever, but you're right. It is just Thanos with the gauntlet, like taking the life away,
literally crushing him, and you see the life leave him.
It is a hard PG-13. It's certainly dark. Which not even to like step over it, but Heimdall as well gets killed
too. Yep.
Before that, and it's such a quick I didn't even know it was Heimdall at first. I didn't recognize him, and then I did later on. I was like, oh crap, that was Heimdall.
No! Yeah, that's. I mean, he looks.
But when he did the Bifrost. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't recognize him at first in Ragnarok because he looked so different. The reason I recognized him in Infinity War was because I just watched Ragnarok recently.
Oh, okay.
And he plays such a big role in that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one thing I want to point out is just we'll throw in our little speculations throughout our discussion. But I wonder, this could just be like my circle of friends. We've had multiple conversations about like who's the best villain in the MCU, and I think it's. Everybody lands on, well, honestly, not all the villains are super strong when you break it down. Loki is definitely the longest standing because he's been an incredible character.
Right.
He was the first villain, I think, that really mattered.
Also the villain in Avengers, which is
exactly.
It's tough to beat. Like, you need an enemy that causes all these guys to go together. Yeah. Which also it is Thanos in the background bringing...
It is, yeah.
Is it the Kree?
Chitauri.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Kree, they're not even around,
the Kree, they're in
S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. We'll see. I believe we'll see Kree in the MCU.
Oh, nice.
I believe. I mean, technically that is MCU.
Yeah.
But I think
maybe Captain Marvel or something.
Yes,
I think I heard a little.
Actually, that's going to be Skrull invasion stuff.
Oh, it's Skrulls?
I believe so.
How? Okay, we'll talk about that later.
I don't know.
I was just curious how they get them in there.
I'm pretty sure I was reading something. I don't know, but it was the Chitauri.
Okay.
Chitauri.
I'm avoiding saying it because I think I'll swear when I say it. So.
Yeah. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Shiitake mushrooms.
Yeah, exactly.
It is Thanos in the background, but I think what was interesting just in regards to having had those conversations about who's the best villain in the MCU.
Yep.
They literally have the new King of the MCU villains crush the previous one in the opening scene. Mm-hmm. And it's just hard not to see that as like, oh, here's your villain. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
it's like all these other villains.
All of these villains.
All these other villains. I'm not gonna be able to say it right. Villains are nothing now. He could just step on them.
Yeah. And it's a lot of levels there with Loki because in his final moments he is still the god of mischief. Mm-hmm. But he's trying to he's sacrifices the stone for Thor.
Yep.
And has his redemption story and his demise all in like the span of a couple minutes.
Yeah, just like
yeah.
And even his death, like it's funny because he almost looks like a coward when he's dying because he's holding it and his legs are shaking. Like he just did Loki so well. Even how Loki died looked like Loki, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, and I think that's what's so hard about it is
because he's like scrawny and stuff. I guess is what I'm looking
for.
Like
and he is. There is something of a cowardice to him, where think back to the first Thor. I mean, granted, he's always manipulating.
Yeah,
but he tries to stay out of the face of danger, which usually is in the form of him betraying someone.
Right.
But in this, it's just you see his helplessness, and it's hard to watch because like it comes moments after him trying to sacrifice himself.
Yep.
Well, not trying to, I guess, but trying to,
defend Thor in a sense.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. It's a crazy thing and a crazy way to open the movie.
Right.
Like this is just the start.
And that's a perfect way to start it. That it's just like, we are not holding back here. We are going to make you feel.
Yep.
See you later. Some of the best characters, it's like, whatever, we're in a new generation now.
Yeah.
So from there Hulk comes in. The only time you see him in the whole movie, right at the beginning, he fights Thanos, gets his butt kicked.
Yeah, that was a crazy scene.
And it was cool because it sets up Hulk the rest of the film, like too afraid to come out, too afraid to. That's what I think, anyways.
That's an interesting reasoning there because I was wondering at the end. I was like, what was the point of that? Like, what? It was such an interesting decision for the rest of the movie that Hulk won't come out, and I hadn't thought about that. That's the first time he's been beaten.
He was gonna be beaten by Thor in Ragnarok.
Yeah,
but it got canceled or whatever. But yeah, I think he was beaten, and I think he's just like afraid. Honestly, I think he's just doesn't think he can win.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that, but that was one decision in the movie that I was like, oh, this is really an interesting decision. I thought they were going to have him come out at the end or something like that, but they never did. He just kept struggling to get Hulk to come out and he wouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
That was really interesting. It also establishes Thanos' power, like right in the beginning.
Right.
You know,
enough to just fight Hulk, and he didn't use the stone or anything.
No, it was just him. Yeah.
Hand to hand. Whew.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it, goosebumps. The entire movie, I was like on the edge of my seat, man.
Yeah. Just a couple general things about the film. Tone-wise, it blows my mind how heavy it is, how many deaths you witness, how many really strong, like really powerful emotional moments throughout the entire film, and also how much comedy.
I can't believe at some of the moments where they're cracking jokes. Like I'm like, it's funny, it's hilarious, it's good, but in this scenario, how the heck could you make a joke?
Yeah, I don't know how they like pulled it off, but I didn't really feel that it was awkward tonally, because I think, like, for instance, when the Guardians pick up Thor, we've just seen Thor go through some pretty heavy stuff, but the Guardians haven't. So them making jokes and being like comedic in that moment isn't weird, because they didn't just experience everything.
And they're always goofy, no matter what.
Exactly, no matter what.
Even in serious stuff, they're goofy.
So I think like that was one of my favorite, scenes early on, where they pick up Thor and Quill starts asking if everyone thinks he's fat and stuff like that. And it's just like, it's just played out so well. And Quill's one of my favorite characters, I think. I love when he's on screen.
He is the freaking worst in that movie, though.
So, okay.
Jumping way ahead here.
Yeah, I mean, we can bounce around. I mean, I guess just to finish that thought, the general things like the tone there, the pairings of different characters, I think they did an amazing job with.
The team ups, like the fact that Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and Iron Man are all on one team. And then you go to another team and it's like, Captain, it's like the usual Avengers, but add some extra. Like, just the team ups were incredible. And I never even thought of them all working together.
Black Panther and Cap working together is one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
So cool. When they're both leading the charge and they're running side by side.
It is so good. I guess along the lines of that, when the fight scenes in general throughout the movie, it was one of those things where, like, afterwards I was thinking back and I was like, oh yeah, in this scene, oh yeah, in this one, oh, in that one, so many good ones. If we can just bust through them real quick, like Thanos and Hulk at the beginning,
incredible. You could see how brutal Thanos was. You heard every punch, and it was it
was just like a heavy battle. I loved that. And then
the battle in New York, I mean, that's the next one where it's Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and Spider-Man joins in. So cool. But
that was dope.
They fight I don't know any of their names. I know they're the children of Thanos.
The children of Thanos. I forget what they're called. Are they like the Dark Order or something like that?
That sounds really like correct.
I don't know their names, but that was another thing that I loved, is like even the secondary villain lineup could have been the villains in any of the movies. To say it as one of my friends did. He was like, though any of one of them could have been the lead villain in some of the other Marvel movies. And they were not only like formidable, but they were scary.
They were scary. They looked creepy.
And the whole time I'm like, man, if these are like the lackeys, it also, I think, just attributes to Thanos' power. So yeah, that battle was amazing. That's when they're going after the time stone that Strange has. My favorite one is on Titan, the one you just referenced, with Strange, Quill, Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Thanos. And is Rocket? No, Rocket's
no, it's
not there.
So yeah, it's Spider-Man, it's Drax, Star-Lord,
Drax,
Mantis,
Strange,
Iron Man, Nebula joins in.
Nebula. Oh, yes.
She comes into the rock. And I'm like,
so good. And that's when we see, throughout the movie, we see a lot of the nanotech. When Iron Man unleashes on him on Titan and all those different like weapons come out. That whole scene was unbelievable with them wrapping up Thanos.
It was so great to see them all work together to get to this point. Like, everyone had a part. It wasn't anybody was left out.
Right. That was unbelievable.
And then even right after, when they're fighting in Wakanda, that huge battle.
That was crazy.
Thor, Groot, Rocket all show up. And
the reveal of Cap in the subway.
Yeah.
You get Cap, Falcon, and Black Widow coming in. Seeing them fight in the subway was so cool.
Vision and Scarlet Witch and there was just so many. It feels like seeing friends, like really good friends, after a long time.
Dude, people applauded when they revealed Cap, and it's a funny thing. There's not really like, so the train's going by, and they just kind of like, oh, is there someone in the background? You see a shadow, and then it closes in on Cap, and everyone was like, "Yeah!" started clapping.
Same thing happened with Thor, Rocket, and Groot when they all showed up. Everyone in the theater started cheering.
There was just something about that moment. Thor's entrance there, dude. I definitely was like, when he comes through with the axe. That was unbelievable in the middle of that whole massive battle. Also, when Scarlet Witch comes down in the Wakanda battle, and she lifts up those machines,
freaking throws it behind her, and kills so many things.
Exactly. And then I forget her name, but the character played by what's her name?
Michonne in Walking Dead.
I think it's Denai Guerra.
Who's T'Chall or T'Chall? Is that someone's name?
I forget.
I don't know. We're terrible with that.
Yeah. Well, it's hard. I've only seen Black Panther once.
Right.
And none of them are names that I'm familiar with.
Right. They're all,
So, like, I know T'Challa M'Baku because he was, like, one of my favorites. Yeah. Well, T'Challa is Black Panther.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking of.
And then Shuri, I think, is his sister. Sorry, guys.
Names.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, she's like, why was she not down here the whole time? Like, because Scarlet Witch comes down and just destroys their ships. So that battle was crazy. The battle in the subway. Because we were just about there on Titan. The one moment in the movie that kind of threw me a little bit. But I get it. Is so they have Thanos pretty much incapacitated, which was crazy because that whole scene, I think what was so intense for me was I did not expect them to even have a chance of incapacitating him.
Right, because he had, 4 of the stones at that
point?
4
of the stones. He was, he's incredibly powerful to begin with.
Yep.
So I really was like, I just think of Thanos as like, you can't, anyone versus Thanos, like Deadpool versus Thanos was written as a joke,
right?
Like, I don't know, have you seen that trade at all?
Yeah.
He's on Deadpool's on the cover. Like, I was kidding, guys. Like,
it's like I don't want
you know
this.
what I mean? Like, any one character versus Thanos is like a joke. But them all fighting him, it was such an incredible scene. So when they finally got him down, this is where they reveal that he had sacrificed Gamora for the Soul Stone, and which we can talk about that scene in a minute.
Yep.
And Quill finds out, and you kind of see it coming. They have Thanos incapacitated. They have the gauntlet almost completely off of him, and you see it about to happen. Quill loses his mind and just starts punching Thanos.
Yep.
And what was frustrating to me in the moment, and I can give my own counter argument for it. What was frustrating in the moment is like, does Quill not see, like at this point, he knows the gravity of the situation.
Right.
Are you really going to lose your mind a moment before they have the gauntlet off when he's actually vulnerable?
Right. Just give it like another second. And on top of that, he already went through the moment of Gamora's death. Like, he was going to shoot her. He shot the bullet. Thanos just stopped it. So like, not that he gave up because he knew she like went away and stuff, but I didn't
even think about that. He was kind of already at that point.
Right. He like already not got over her death or anything, but just like accepted it maybe.
He was right. And I guess that goes along with what I'm saying. Like, he understood the gravity of the situation to the point where he almost had to kill Gamora and was like there. So that was kind of frustrating. On the other hand, Quill's not the most rational character.
Right.
I was talking to another friend of mine, and he brought up Guardians 2. It's kind of a similar moment that he has with Kurt Russell's character when he finds out, spoilers for Guardians 2, that Kurt Russell, I forget his name. Ego? What is that noise?
That's Oscar.
Oh, it's the cat. Ego? I think it's Ego. I don't know. Look it up. Yeah. But that character had intentionally given his mother cancer.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yep,
and Quill loses his mind. So I was like, all right, maybe it's not completely out of character for him to lose his mind.
Yeah, and he's not like a hero per se. He's just kind of a dude like surviving in space.
That's the other thing that's kind of funny is like Star-Lord versus Thanos is kind of a hilarious idea.
Ego. Yeah, it was Ego.
So,
yeah, Star-Lord versus Thanos is what?
It's just it's silly. Like, but that maybe that more enforces how it affected him in the moment. He was just completely irrational, but it is a frustrating moment because you're seeing right there the problem's about to be solved.
Right.
And that was kind of a point of tension for me. It was the one moment I think in the whole movie where I was kind of like, oh, like I saw it coming, which I can say for almost none of the rest of the movie.
Yeah, totally.
It was surprises left and right. And when it happened, I was kind of like, would he though? Like, would he be that?
Like you're saying, realistically, if he was,
yeah, like if obviously it's a big thing to take in, but do you know the gravity of the situation? You know, that's all I can think to say is like, wouldn't you just give it that moment because you know in a couple minutes he's going to be way less powerful than he is in this moment,
right?
And then that being said, when he gets the gauntlet back on, and
God, it is so close. Spider-Man it's like the tip of his fingers.
I love how they did that. Yeah. Literally, they went so far as to show it like coming off, and then he grabs it with his fingers. Oh, it's nuts.
It was so cool how they did it.
And I'll say that moment, they accomplished what they wanted to accomplish because you are there like, even though you know, this is what's going to happen.
I didn't know, though. I didn't, because they did a big thing by changing the name of the next Marvel or the next Avengers movie, you know? Because it's not going to be Infinity War Part 2. They're not connected, whatever. Yeah. So I was like, maybe it will end here. Like, maybe
I'll get it.
I was hopeful. I was very, very optimistic. I
just felt like I saw what they were setting up. But
I get it. There was still like a lot.
Yeah, and that's not to say it was bad. It was, it was a particular device they went with in that moment. And, like I said, it's not unlike Quill to kind of like lose his cool and freak out. And I really do love him as a character. And I wasn't like upset about that moment, but it was, like I said, the only moment in the 2 hours and 40 minutes where I was kind of like, meh. But such an intense moment still. The battle's crazy. It's just with the weight of everything, when he gets that gauntlet back on, you feel that like, come on. Ah! It's like right there. But to rewind a little bit, the moment with Gamora.
Yep.
Also Red Skull. How cool was that?
That was so cool. I never thought in a million years we'd ever see him again.
Right? And you have no reason to expect to see him.
Yeah, it could be anybody. Yeah. You're just like, oh, look at this. It happens to be the Grim Reaper just chilling.
There was like a gasp in my theater.
Yeah.
Like Red Skull.
God. And it makes sense because he did disappear, right?
Yeah, I think he just gets hit with the is it the first? I forget which stone it is that they find. The
Tesseract.
Oh, that's right. It's the Tesseract. They unearth the Tesseract, and I think at the end he gets like shot with it or blasted with it.
Yeah, something happens because he does disappear. It looks like he just gets eradicated or whatever.
And he gets sent to that realm.
Did you know it wasn't what's his name? Hugo Weaving? Who
I didn't know.
It was a new guy. It was someone
else.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you just put a lot of makeup and it doesn't matter. Well, it kind of does because the acting and stuff.
Yeah, he sounded a little bit different to me. But I couldn't really tell.
Yeah.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
It'd be cool if it was like him reprising his role.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But it was neat to see, like, oh my God, because I was a little upset that he didn't stick around because Red Skull is traditionally a big Captain America villain.
Right.
So to get rid of him in the first movie, but it makes sense because Captain America goes in the future and blah, 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 blah.
Right. Yeah. So. You kind of only have him for that time period, but it was cool just with such a massive ensemble and so many like, I guess, like reunions like after Civil War and stuff like that. It's cool to even bring a villain back that we haven't seen for a long time. So that I thought that was really cool. And then that whole scene with Thanos and Gamora, Thanos was just such a fleshed out villain, a character that I have a hard time saying he was like relatable.
I sympathize with him a lot.
Yeah, but he can so cleanly articulate what his intentions are that you're like, oh, I kind of see where he's coming from.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I guess it makes sense.
And then, the whole time you think he's like, everyone just thinks he's the epitome of evil and he's delusional and he's heartless. And then that moment when you realize before Gamora does that he loves her.
Yep.
And that's the only possible sacrifice. And that shot of him dragging her and her looking to me like a child, like, no, and like slapping him and stuff like that. So helpless against someone as strong as him. Dude, that moment was like, oh my gosh, because like it literally was like a father dragging his daughter.
Right.
Like that's, I mean,
and that's what it
is.
That's
what it is. But it's just like
to her death.
It made her look like a little child because she's just so weak to him. You know what I mean?
She's nothing. She can't do anything.
So that was just a crazy scene.
Super powerful. On top of that, the rippling effects it's going to have for Guardians 3. You know?
I know.
They've already announced Guardians 3, so like, I highly doubt she's a character coming back.
And I was thinking about that. She's one that's kind of bummer. We only have had her for 3 movies, and now she's potentially one of the ones we won't see come back.
The only theory I have is because her soul was switched with the Soul Stone. Her soul is inside the Soul Stone.
So that's a reason. That's a reasonable thing.
Yeah.
A reasonable thought.
Because if you guys don't know, the Soul Stone has like a little universe in it. People's souls, like when it gets used, you can take their souls and put it in that.
Right.
Which is a huge theory for the end of the movie, but we'll get there when we get there.
Right.
We can talk about it but.
So that could be, one thing. Another thing is the time stone is something to consider.
Right.
The hard thing with that is like, how far back do you go? Like, do you undo everything that's been done in the MCU and bring back everybody that's ever died? You know what I mean?
How crazy would it be if they did a total retcon, just like reset everything?
I mean, they could, if you know what I mean, like. But
they would have to get because we're at the point where I think we won't see another Captain America movie, won't see another Thor, won't see another Iron Man. Like, we won't see any of those. I don't think. I feel like everyone is almost finished with their characters.
Yeah.
So if they do a retcon, they could do new actors and have these characters still around.
There's something that hurts me inside to think of that, though, that going back and watching all of the other movies, you just know it's all coming to an end and almost for nothing at some point.
Right, if they reset everything.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Like, right, even this movie would not be nearly as good if, like, everything we just saw doesn't matter, you know?
Right.
Like, all the characters that died and stuff. Because I feel like the next movie's still going to have a lot of deaths, even if they do reverse what happened.
Yeah, I mean, so far, it looks like the ones we're definitely not getting back is Heimdall, Loki, Gamora,
Vision.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was there were a couple times near the end where you thought they won, which was a crazy, like, bait and switch a couple times.
Yeah, they did it more than once, which is nuts.
Yeah, so there's the moment where, Wanda is trying to... first casualty of the movie.
Yes.
Wanda's accent.
Yeah. And what's even worse is upon a second viewing, there are moments where she tries to do the accent.
It's like,
but it's clear, like her first few lines of the movie, it's pure English, nothing, no accent, no nothing.
So like, totally like American English.
Yeah.
In Ultron and Civil War, her accent's like,
yeah, it's all right.
But it's just funny to think. It seems like they're like, you know what? Maybe just forget about that.
My thought is she was in America long enough where she's just adopted.
She's been around a lot of Americans, and that's fine. That's all it is. But she finally, succumbs to, I need to be the one to destroy the stone that is a part of Vision, and she takes it out.
Yep.
And then Thanos uses the time stone, brings him back, and he breaks it.
Oh my God!
Out of him. Yeah. Oh, that is a crazy thing to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe it's right after that. That's when Thor busts in with the axe.
Yep.
Which I don't know what he was doing the whole time everyone was fighting him. I kind of wish he was there a little bit sooner.
A little bit earlier makes sense. And I noticed Rocket wasn't around. Like, he doesn't. That big dramatic point where everyone's getting thrown off. There wasn't Rocket, which is fine. It doesn't matter. But yeah, Thor would be the only one to, I think, properly stop him. But.
Yeah, it kind of seems like you have that axe, like, find Thanos immediately.
Right, that's your number one goal.
Yeah, but there is a massive battle going on.
Plus, he can fly, though. He could just fly right to it.
That's true, yeah. So, I mean...
no excuse, Thor.
I don't know what he was
Step your game up.
Yeah, just having fun smashing little space dogs or whatever.
Whatever.
So, then he comes in. Mm-hmm. That's a crazy moment when he slices into Thanos. Yep. And you think maybe he's got him.
I mean, Thanos is dying. Yeah. There. He is at the point.
And I will say there were a bunch of times in the movie, similar to what I was saying about the battle on Titan, is there are so many moments that establish Thanos' vulnerability. Like, even when Gamora stabs him in the throat, and it ends up being a hologram or a projection of the reality stone. Yep. But to show that he would even be injured by that, I just had this image in my mind of, like, the unbeatable Thanos, like, you know what I mean? And then to have that moment with Thor, where it's like, wow, this really would have been a moment where he beat him.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you should aim for the head and snaps.
Boom, the snap
Crazy
and all
moment.
snaps.
So that was 2 times right back to back where you thought like, oh, maybe they won it. Nope. Oh, maybe they won it.
Yep.
Nope.
And we're so used to all of the movies ending on a high note. You know, they're all like relatively happy endings. Sometimes there's like, oh, but their Scar's still alive over here. Watch out and stuff like that. But it's still always like a good standing. Maybe Civil War wasn't like a happy note.
No,
but not nearly as dark as the ending we got for this movie.
Right.
Where Thanos succeeds and destroys half the universe in a snap. Crazy.
It's insane.
It is so. And, you know, in the back of your head, you're still like, all right, they're not going to kill it. Because you see, like, Spider-Man's death. Holy crap.
Yeah, so you start to see everyone kind of fading away. Yeah. Everyone is emotional. There are there are a couple of really cool devices like where you see Black Panther reach for, I forget who it is.
It's Michonne.
Okay, yeah. So he reaches for her and they zoom in on the arms and you see one of them start to fade away.
Yep.
And I believe so. You just don't know which one it is, and they pull out, and it's actually Black Panther. So you see all these characters fading away to nothing. Pretty much all of the Guardians except for Rocket.
Yeah, which that's crazy that even Rocket stuck around. But that leads me to Groot, which Groot's the last of his kind. How come he faded?
Well, I don't know. There are some things like
which
that that
could
are
lead
like,
to the theory that there are other whatever Groots is out there. But anyways,
But is it per culture? Is that like what?
I thought it was per race. He was
per
just,
race.
And not all race, like the entire race doesn't have to exist on one planet. Maybe there are other ones on other planets, but maybe he is just literally splitting it in half, just half.
But I think his goal is Earth, right? So these are all, but like, so maybe
universe.
it's all the creatures on Earth. Like maybe it does it by planet.
Oh, okay.
You know
so
what I mean?
like
they're on Earth at the time. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not his home.
But then they're on Titan. There's only like 6 people on Titan because it's already been destroyed.
Yeah, there's 2 left by the end.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't understand Thanos math. But back to what you were saying.
Math. That's what it's called too.
Back to what you were saying about there's a meme in there somewhere.
Yeah, definitely.
About Peter. They drag his death out.
Because everyone loves Spider-Man.
And he's brand new.
Yeah.
He's a kid. He's had a movie and a half. And a half. Yeah, he was in Civil War for 10 minutes.
Yeah. And this one for the rest of a half.
So it's like a movie and a 2/3.
Yeah.
And what's crazy about this moment is so he and Stark, right? So he's like, Tony, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Or I don't want to go. I think he was saying. Yeah. I don't know. It's sad.
Yeah.
It's freaking sad.
Oh, it's so sad.
It's freaking bats. And so it's a video I saw.
Okay.
So they drag that out. Here's one thing I realized afterwards. Do you remember early on in the movie when he's talking to Pepper and he's talking about his dream that he had?
Yeah.
And he's like, I had a dream that you were pregnant, and I'm just thinking like maybe you're, and she's like, no, Tony, I'm not pregnant.
Right.
I think that dream was like a premonition of his like fatherhood with Peter. Because Tony is like not that guy,
right?
Who like all I can think of is in Spider-Man when Tony reaches over to open the door and Peter goes to hug him and he's like, "This isn't a hug. I'm getting the door for you." He's like not that guy, but in that moment he has Peter, who is like his protege,
his ward,
yeah, like clinging to him, and Tony has no choice but to like just accept what's going on. And I feel like there's a moment there where he's like accepting his fatherliness to this kid.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think otherwise that moment in the beginning really has no meaning because he's talking about, I forget what it is, but he's like, hey, remember I had that dream?
He had a dream and he wanted to, it was, they named the baby after her uncle, Morgan, whatever.
Okay. Yeah. Something like that.
It was just...
But before that, he was like, remember when I had this dream that this happened and then it happened?
Remember they got married?
Maybe that's what it was. He started the conversation with like this, and she's like, yeah, I remember. And he's like, I had a dream that we had a kid. And she was like, I'm not pregnant. But I felt like the thing that happened with Peter, and throughout the whole thing, because like when he's a stowaway on the ship, that was a crazy moment. They're flying up to space.
Yeah, oh my God.
That was nuts. But I feel like that was a really important thing that they did there. And then Tony just accepting, like I said, I don't feel like he's that guy that's like, you know, oh, you're my little boy, I'm here for you. Like he's not that dude, you know? But then after everyone kind of fades away, he's just stuck there. Like I think his reaction and Cap's reaction were like just untouchable because you just see him like accepting what's going on. And Cap just goes, oh God.
Yeah.
And, like just sits down. And then
man, that shot lasts for a little while too, where it's like slowly zooming out and they're all just sitting there like, what just happened?
Right? Yeah, they're all just like figuring it out. And it just, so when he snaps his fingers, let's talk a little bit about that. it goes to that scene. What did you make of the scene where it shows young Gamora and Thanos?
So you notice it was all orange.
Yes.
Soul Stone is orange.
Okay.
I think he was in the Soul Stone.
Oh.
And that was him, what I can't explain how it happened. Maybe it's just like the moment where it's like, are you sure you made the right decision or whatever? But that's where I think everyone is. I think everyone went into the Soul Stone, and the next movie is them destroying the stones.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be big.
That is going to be
the return
huge.
Of whoever returns.
Yeah.
And I wonder if Gamora will be the last one.
I know. I wonder. That's why I think she's trapped in the Soul Stone, because she was technically switched for it,
Right.
So that was her as a little girl, but that just might be her soul in the stone.
Because the Soul Stone is probably what is
Because I looked at I went online to see like what happened, because it was the Soul Stone that took everyone's lives. Like all the other ones helped with it, but it was the Soul Stone that did most of the work.
Because each stone plays a role in it.
Right. Yeah. So I don't even know where everyone's soul. That's what I think. Everyone's soul's in there, and that's what happens with the stone. Like when it's used by itself in other comics and all that stuff. It's just like it's a soul exchange. Like their soul goes inside.
Okay, so that's interesting, because I wasn't really sure what to make of that moment where he snaps his fingers, and then the next thing is him with young Gamora. But that makes sense because she's the one he sacrificed, and she's like, "Did you do it?" or whatever. And then I was blown away that the movie ends. You see him walking out, which is a reference to what he had said earlier in the movie. He was like, these are my intentions to bring balance to the universe. And I forget which character it was, but they're like, and then what? And he's like, then I watch the sunset on a grateful universe, or whatever he says.
It was either Gamora or Doctor Strange. I don't remember which he was saying it to, but
yeah. And then so at the end they show him walking out in Wakanda, and I was like,
is that where he is?
I think so. Yeah. I couldn't figure it out at first. At first, I thought it was freaking Hawkeye's house, because like we haven't seen it since
That would be
Ultron.
Hilarious.
But so he walks
he can't
out.
be in Wakanda.
No, well, that's where he snapped his fingers. That's where he was.
Yeah, but he like did the whatever stone, the blue one, space or reality, or no, reality's red. He faded away, like he went into the portal, like he does when he first appears. You know how there's the cloud effect behind him. So that's what he did. The stones were all intact. They were all fine. It was the gauntlet that got charred.
Yeah, so the gauntlet gets destroyed.
I just think it's funny that he's in Wakanda right under their noses, like.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, it's going to be a big hunt for him. No one knows where he is.
I guess that's true, yeah. I thought, okay, yeah, so wherever he is.
But it could be. I don't know. That's smart.
No, you're probably right. But he just walks out, and you see, like, the sun setting.
Yep.
And it was that moment that I was like, oh, my God, this is the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they actually did this.
Yep.
And I mean,
the last shot is just on his face, and he's, like, content. Like, he's not happy or sad. It's just like,
I did it.
I did it, yep.
And it just ends. And the
Black
silence...
screen.
Dude, after he snaps his fingers, the silence, and you're just going from scene to scene, watching everyone accept what's going on.
There's no sad music. It's just like you jump from character to character, and you're like, oh God, who's next? Who's fading? You see Bucky right away, and then it starts just jumping in between, and you're like.
And the crazy thing about the movie ending that way, right? Mm-hmm. So you and I read some comic books.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Credit to my buddy Ethan, with whom I had about an hour-long conversation the other day. So he brought to my attention, if you read comic books, if you're kind of invested in the MCU, you have this concept of, okay, a lot of people just died.
Yes.
Some of them are coming back.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the MCU release schedule.
Yes.
So for sure
I knew
some people are coming back, right?
Yeah, that immediately went through my head. I was like, okay, we got a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
We have Guardians 2 coming, and I think Black Panther 2 is announced.
I think that's going to happen.
So those characters that we know faded away will be coming. And no way they'll get rid of Spider-Man.
No, of course not.
That's the only one I think of that's like guaranteed.
Did you say Guardians 2?
Oh, yeah, just Guardians 3. Right.
So outside of that, right, you also know how these kinds of stories and universes can work. Okay,
yes.
Maybe they're not all dead. How are they going to do it?
Right.
Think about your average person, your average moviegoer who does not think in those terms and just watch all of these characters die.
Right.
And is like, oh, wow.
Yeah, they are gone. In their head, they're dead.
That's it.
You know
what I mean? Like, there are people who are like, that's the end of that. So it was just, again, I was talking to my friend Ethan, and he had seen it like an early showing, and he said that there were people who like walked out when Spider-Man died. Because
because they think he's dead.
They're not.
How could you walk out before the end of the movie?
Dude, oh no, dude. Can we discuss for a minute? If you guys are walking out before the credits end in any movie nowadays, just please stop that.
Why?
But especially Marvel movies. Every Marvel movie I see, granted, maybe these people have like seen it before, but every Marvel movie I see, there are people who walk out before the credits are over, which I don't understand. Happened in Infinity War, and I saw it opening night.
I did it today, but it was the second time.
But you've seen it, yeah. No reason. That's what I'm saying.
But right. People,
opening night, I saw people leave before the credits ended. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. They're not true fans.
But it's just crazy. It's so bold in general to see a movie end on a note like that because it doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Regardless of what happens in the future, that movie ends that way.
Yeah.
You know, more than half of the cast probably dies or fades or you know, whatever.
It is right now. It's considered death.
It's considered death.
Yeah.
And there's a couple crazy things there. One is almost the entirety of who's left is the original Avengers team. You have Cap, you have Rhodes, you have Romanov. We think Hawkeye's out there somewhere. We haven't seen him at all.
Right.
My theory is his wife died, and that's going to get him all involved in what's going on.
Oh.
I bet. Because there are a lot of people we don't see in this movie.
Right.
I bet we'll find out in future movies who is affected by that.
Right.
Then you have Stark.
Nebula. Well, it's not original Avengers.
No, but then I always want to say Ruffalo. Hulk. So those are essentially the originals.
The original team.
And then you have Thor.
Right.
Thor's still alive.
Nick Fury, but he's gone.
So yeah, that's true.
Credits.
So he's gone.
Yeah.
But the original Avengers lineup all lives. And then outside of that, Nebula, Rocket. Who else?
That might be it.
Is that it? Was there another Guardian? No, that's it. Nebula and Rocket.
That is weird to keep.
And then there are a lot of Black Panther peripherals.
Yeah.
But I think, didn't M'Baku die? He's the leader of the other.
No, he was there at the end. He didn't fade.
He was? Okay. Yeah. It's hard to remember. There's so many. And then Michonne lives.
Good old Michonne.
But it's crazy to end on that note. In any film, it's just bold, and I mean, I think because of the universe they're in, like they can do it.
Yep. At this point, that is strictly running on fan fuel, like people who see it, who aren't who either didn't watch all the I saw it with our cousin Sabrina today, and she didn't see Black Panther, she didn't see Thor. There's a lot of movies they didn't see Avengers, Civil War, or Age of Ultron. But they still watched the movie. They had no idea who Vision was, and I was like,
"Oh my gosh!"
It's like that's. Anyways,
crazy.
But they still love the movie. I'm saying they because their boyfriend was there as well, Jake. Anyway, so they both watched it and they loved it as not super nerdy people who are into the comics.
Yeah.
She's under the impression they're all dead. They're all gone.
Right.
You know, and exactly to your theory. I had to explain to her no, comics usually work like this. And notice how they faded while other characters actually died. So they're. But it is funny to think watching this as just an average person, it is crazy to end a movie like that.
And I mean, granted, there are movies out there that will end on with the unexpected, the bad guy wins or whatever. But something on this scale, with this kind of mass appeal to end on that note is so crazy and so cool. Just from a filmmaking standpoint as well, this movie is an unbelievable achievement. To balance everything that they do is crazy. Not just tone like we were talking about earlier, but as many characters as there are.
Right, and I feel like they all have significant screen time. I don't feel like there's any
too.
really. The only one that was kind of I wish I had more with him was Captain America. I feel like he didn't have no development or anything, but now that
they need it at this point, I
feel we know him, but at this point it's post Civil War, which we haven't seen him in anything.
Right. I mean, they did touch on that a little bit with Tony wanting to get in or not wanting to get in touch with him and feeling uncomfortable about that.
And I totally forgot about the prison break because they all just kind of broke free at the end of Civil War.
Oh yeah,
because they're all in that jail and then they all broke free. But
that's right. Yeah.
I forgot they were fugitives. At that
so
point.
I guess what we got to see of Cap in this movie is just just Cap in a situation.
Yeah.
This is what's going on.
He'll still do it for the good of people, but he's not pro America or anything.
And we got Rhodey. We got that moment where he was pretty much shutting down the council, being whatever, you know what I mean?
That was court martial.
Yeah. I wish I never signed the Sokovia Accords kind of thing. So that was nuts. One thing I want to talk about too is, so Doctor Strange and Tony Stark and Spider-Man, Peter Parker. Oh, we're using our
fake
made
names?
up names.
Made up. Yeah.
So funny because
So
his
good.
name's actually Strange.
Yeah.
So good. So they're going up, and Doctor Strange says blatantly to Stark, he's like, we can do this. Because Stark's like, I think we need to go to Thanos, fight him on his home turf. He won't be expecting that.
Yep.
Strange says, okay, but I will easily sacrifice you and that kid to protect this stone. What is your take on him giving up the stone for Tony's life?
Well, when he saw the 14 million different scenarios, obviously Tony has a big part
in the one
scenario that they win.
That's a positive outcome.
But he also said it in a way that I take it as like there's no other way. The only way we win is if he destroys half the universe. Like that is the victory. Half of us surviving. So because maybe he saw Tony. No, I don't know. I was gonna say maybe he saw like Tony fading away or something, but he was still made it to the end, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, him. Clearly, Tony's gonna have a huge part in the next movie.
The only theory, or the only thing that makes sense is that decision to give up the time stone is a part of what Strange saw. Because outside of that, there is no precedent for him sacrificing that stone.
Not at all.
For Tony's life.
Right.
Because they argue the whole time.
Yeah.
Also, their dynamic was super funny.
Incredible. Because they're
like the same character.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was pretty great.
But yeah, they didn't like become friends because they all fought together.
Right.
Like,
not at all.
There was no context to it. And Doctor Strange isn't the type to get like emotional. Like,
no. And I think
black and white,
I think he took his attitude from being a doctor into this new role of being a mystic and a protector.
Yeah.
And he keeps it just as serious, where he's like, I'm not budging on what my job is. Like, I'm going to do what I need to do to get it done. So in that moment, there's no explanation other than he knows something that we don't.
Yep.
So yeah, he said there's two things. He says this is the only way. And then I think he says something else to Tony right before he kind of fades away.
This is the end game.
Oh, that's right.
But that was before. That was after. He's like, "Why'd you give the stone?" Like nobody was fading away at that point.
Oh, he says we're in the end game.
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
And then when he's fading away, he says this was the only way.
Right.
So that either means that, right, like you said, Tony is a big part of it, or a big part of the victory in the end, or that he just knew that giving up the stone is a part of the journey to the victory at the end. So. And I think that's another thing, too, that maybe a lot of people miss because it's such a small thing and such a massive movie. But I think it's a really important thing because when he gives it up, you feel like that's not something he would do.
Right.
Like,
absolutely not. Like,
yeah.
And, and I had that thought, like they didn't become friends because they were all fighting together. They didn't even have a conversation,
Right.
They were still all mad. So, yeah, it's Tony's going to have a much bigger part. He had a huge part in this one, though. It's not like he wasn't.
He has since the beginning. It's crazy if you really think about it. Even him, down to him being in Spider-Man and things like that. I'm wondering if it's going to be him or Cap that ends up like sacrificing themselves and using the gauntlet.
I honestly think it might be all of them.
Like so, it might take all of them.
They might just clear out the original group to make room for all these new ones.
Can you imagine?
Could lead to new Avengers and stuff. Like, I can and I can't because I feel like their contracts are coming up. They've been at this for what? It'll be 22 movies by the time. Not that they were in all those movies, but they're part of the series that they've been all over the place. So it does seem like, and I'd be totally fine if they all died. It'd be as
I think they'd kill them all in one movie.
I don't know. Well, because how do they explain them not showing up later?
I think some would die, and then some would be like, "I can't do this anymore."
Who would say that?
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if like.
I mean, I could see it with Bruce.
I could see a handoff. Like you could have Bucky, Cap.
Okay. Yep.
So you could see, Steve be like, I've never had a real life kind of thing. Yeah, maybe Bruce, all done with the Hulk. I could see Romanov, same thing, being like, I think I'm done with this life.
It's tough to see it though.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Maybe not. I still want a Black Widow Hawkeye movie more than anything.
That would be
That's
awesome.
not gonna happen.
That would be so cool.
But yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do.
I can guarantee either Cap or Iron Man's gonna die in the next movie, one or the other, or both. Maybe they have to learn to work together and
Maybe
they both
both
end up dying, which would be huge and crazy, but
it
also
reminds
makes
me.
sense.
It reminds me of the end of Guardians when they all have to join hands to
Right.
Contain the power of the stone, and like picture something like that. Imagine all the original Avengers.
Yeah, they're all like taking the gauntlet off, but it's slowly ripping their skin, like they're being decimated by it,
And then they do a montage of all the happy moments. Dude, that's gonna be hard. Like that many movies deep.
Yep.
Dude, you kill someone in the third movie of a trilogy and it's heartbreaking. Let alone like movie 22.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh my God. I don't know, dude.
I'm like, I've been going through the MCU from the first movie since like last year. I haven't been doing like one a week or anything, obviously, because I'd be done by now. But but I'm just in the middle of phase 2, and up next is Guardians, and I'm like kind of sad to watch it because Gamora's dead.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like sad to watch and be like, oh, Gamora. But
you're gonna die soon.
yeah, but yeah. So those are just some of the things that I took out that kind of give you the things to speculate for the next one.
I'm a little nervous it's going to have the Walking Dead effect where we have so much time to think about like what could happen in the next
that
movie.
We're going to figure it out.
Yeah, or we'll prepare ourselves for like, okay, if Captain America dies, I'm ready for it. If Iron Man dies. Like this one, we even knew going in people would die. We just had no idea. And
I got to say they did a good job with this one because we've had 10 years to figure out what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
Almost none of the theories I heard about who was going to die in this one were true.
Which even going in, we knew, well, at least not knew, but we had a very good idea that Vision was going to die. Cause he had
one.
He had a stone in his head, but how they were going to do it still impressed me.
And it was throughout the whole movie. Like, just wondering what was going to go down with that.
And let's like just talk about how dark it is that she killed him. Thanos brought him back and then killed him
in front of her.
In front of her.
Yeah.
That's horrific. When she fades away, you can see she almost looks happy that she's dying because it's so upsetting. Like, the second time view was huge because it really does. Now that you know what you're looking for, it certainly helps with a lot of those little details that you don't notice. Like, I didn't even comprehend that Thanos has to close his hand to use the glove. That was the big thing. Use the gauntlet. So the whole point of that big fight on Titan, they were trying to just keep his hand open. Like at one point, Doctor Strange sends his cape to get it, and he's like, make sure he doesn't close his hand. And he just says it quietly, but so that's huge.
Oh, I remember that.
A huge detail that I didn't even notice.
How does he snap his fingers, though?
What do you mean?
Well, he has to close it to use the gauntlet?
Well, I mean, he has all maximum power at that point. So I don't know. I assume it's easy enough to do that. But that was their whole thing because, like, you know, everyone kept stopping his hand, stopping it from closing. That whole fight, if you watch just the gauntlet, you should see all the little, the little neat details. But that's a huge detail because in, you know, even when Captain America's like holding his hand and stuff, like trying to not break the gauntlet, but just stop it, you know, the fact that he closes it and uses he has to punch him to do it, but then he gets the use of his powers again. So it's just something to think about for the next movie because the big thing's the gauntlet. He can't close it unless he can.
Well, now the gauntlet's destroyed.
Right. So what? He uses the stones individually, or does he keep them in a bag on his
Something's
pocket?
going to happen where another gauntlet needs to be forged on the star or whatever.
You think they're going to do that?
I don't know. It's definitely significant that the gauntlet's garbage now.
Right.
So I don't know if like
shard and everything.
Yeah, I mean maybe the Avengers get a hold of some of the stones. Maybe we get a Pet Avengers movie. That would be the best day of my life. If you've never read Pet Avengers, please, for the sake of whatever, read Pet Avengers.
You know, he could do it. He could change reality and turn them all into pets.
That would be, dude.
That would be hilarious.
Pet Avengers.
So, and the only other thing I can think of is the benefit of all these people dying leaves so much more room for all these characters, all the characters that remain in the next movie. Now they don't have to worry about like making sure everyone's got screen time, all these lines and all that stuff because there's less people.
Dude, I would love for the fourth Avengers movie to be a reuniting of the original team.
Yeah.
And the sad part is it's going to be reuniting and then we're going to lose some.
Right.
But I would love to be brought back to the time that I saw Avengers for the first time.
I
would love to see that.
Dude, they have to be going that direction because it's such a significant thing that they broke up that Iron Man, the whole movie Iron Man and Captain America don't even they don't talk to each other. They don't communicate at all.
Wait to see them back together.
It's going to be amazing.
And it's going to be like an entrance.
Yeah.
Can I just say, no one enters better than Thor.
Oh my God.
Every time Thor enters somewhere,
it's lightning. It's
the
dramatic.
Thing. Like it was very similar to his entrance in Ragnarok,
yeah.
which I think that was the greatest. Like,
oh my God, it was so
dude,
cool with the
especially
music.
With that bandit again, dude. That Led Zeppelin song and Thor.
Yep.
I was talking to someone the other day. They were like, I was really hoping Immigrant Song would play when he came in with the axe.
Yeah.
But I mean, it'd be the same scene. So, but that part was so sick.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, that's really my hope for Avengers. I want to see maybe the first half of the movie just be them, Hawkeye coming to find them, and then
just all of them working to to reunite and just be like, this is it, the last Avengers hoorah, you know?
I almost want it to be similar to when Cap is facing off with Loki in Avengers, and then Iron Man shows up and calls them reindeer games, and then there's just I don't.
Plus, they use that Loki Hulk joke one more time in this one.
Which one?
Because Loki's like, but we have a Hulk, and then Hulk comes.
Oh
in
that's right. Oh man,
they kept
that right at the beginning.
Yep.
Oh, Loki.
It was a good send off though, because then they use it in Ragnarok, and then they jump right to it in Thor, and everyone got to. It was just, it's sad, but it's good. You know,
gosh.
There's just so many elements, so many things. To think that we've been watching these movies for 10 years. It's the 10th anniversary of Marvel Studios.
How old were you when Iron Man came out?
What am I, 20? I'm 23 now, so 10 years ago.
You were 13?
13?
That's weird.
That is weird.
Super weird.
That's awesome, though. Yeah, I didn't even, I knew about Marvel, but I wasn't, super into it at the time. I don't even think I saw the first Iron Man in theaters.
Really?
Yeah, at first I didn't see Thor in theaters. I just missed that one, but I was younger, so it was harder for me to go to places.
Blew my mind.
Yeah, I know. I saw that one on DVD. I never saw that one in theaters, but
my best friend got an Iron Man tattoo after they came out.
Wow,
yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is some serious dedication,
dude.
Smart though at this point,
yeah,
because Iron Man tattoos are expensive,
dude.
Now, I don't know what else to say. I mean, you just listened to us nerd out for an hour.
One last question.
Yep.
If that's Loki's final moment, do you feel like it was a memorable, did justice to?
I think it was, like you said, it was to show Thanos' power, to show that we mean business. But I think it's also good because Loki did at the very end, he said he was I'm Odin's son, the rightful heir. I think he truly believed he was part of the family at the end.
Yeah.
And he was doing it for Thor, just trying to save him. So I think, yes, it's a good send-off, but his character's so sad because it is. He's a villain. He's, he's okay in Dark World. He's both sides, He's helpful and then he's not. And then in Ragnarok, also bad for a little bit, but then they learn to work together, all that stuff, So it is sad to see. And Gamora too, not that she had a huge character development and stuff, but it's still sad. And Heimdall, these characters.
Well, that's what's rough is Gamora felt like she was still developing
fresh. Yeah,
Quill.
We've only seen 2 movies with her, and it's tough to see these characters because it's like watching a TV series for 10 years. It's incredible though. It's so amazing that we live in a time where these movies exist, and if you dedicate your time, you feel the same feeling as losing a longtime friend.
It's crazy.
And we're just lucky. Disney, good job for buying Marvel. Marvel, good job for being good.
Where do you rank it?
Number 1 for sure.
Best one.
Just because of everything it's done, and and I say it with every Avenger, every movie, every Avengers, it feels like the culmination of everything we've been waiting for, and it did it. It surprised me. It made me laugh, made me cry, gave me goosebumps. It did it's the ultimate movie to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like I want to share it with everybody because of how good it was.
So good.
But granted, I feel like you have to watch all the movies.
You gotta watch them
just to get the gravity of this situation.
Don't be lame. Watch them all.
Don't be lame. Yeah, and it did awesome. $250 million in the first either day or weekend. One of the two broke records.
Beat out Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it has a what is it, 70 or maybe 68 Metascore, which I think is surprisingly low. Maybe it's 86. I might be dyslexic.
No, it didn't. It got a couple of 6s in a couple places, 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Which I was like.
But on IMDb, it's 9 out of 10. People love it. So, and it's special effects. best I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
I was just thinking about it. Like the main villain is strictly CGI, and he like looked awesome.
Some of the other villains are too. I mean, there was the only thing I didn't love in regards to that. Was
Squidward.
No, that was so good. What's his name sitting in the Hulkbuster armor at the end?
Freaking
Banner.
Yeah. What about?
I thought he looked kind of funny just sitting there. If you looked at like his neckline, it just
when he takes the helmet off for a second when Thor shows up,
it looked kind of weird.
But the armor's huge. So
I know. It just kind of looked like he was hovering there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of weird. But
I get it.
Aside from that, Infinity War was unbelievable.
Yeah. I've seen it twice, and I may even see it one more time.
I definitely need to see it again. It's probably going to be in theaters for the next 10 years. So.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird Black Panther's not out on video before the next Marvel movie came out?
That is weird. They came out pretty close. I was looking. I always keep my tickets and I have them in order, and it was Black Panther on the same page as the Avengers, and all my other ones are always like pages apart because I see every movie ever. But
I have a couple friends who haven't seen Black Panther yet.
Wow,
because it's not out on Blu-ray yet, so they haven't.
I think it's actually still in theaters though.
In some, yeah.
That's nuts.
Let's go see both
at the same time. Oh my God! Imagine a marathon of those movies now.
They did it before Infinity War. AMC, I think, did it.
How many hours is that? Are we up to 2 days yet?
It was close. It was really close, like 38 or something like that.
Also, we didn't talk about the after credit scene. Captain Marvel.
Yep.
I think she's going to have a huge part in this
movie.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely. All we know, a couple details, but for whatever reason, Fury had a decrepit old pager called Captain Marvel.
Looks like spacey.
Yeah, it's a little bit spacey. I know Captain Marvel is going to take place in the 90s.
Yep.
So it's going to be a prequel of sorts, but it is going to preface her
showing up in the movie.
Yeah, her role with Thanos.
She might have like an Adam Warlock type role because he's not showing up in this.
Right.
Well, to our knowledge.
She is essentially like Marvel's Superman. Like she's going to be powered beyond any of the other Avengers we've met so far, I believe. I think. And one question I've heard arise is if he had access to her all this time, why have we not seen her yet? We've been through some pretty disastrous moments.
Yeah. There's got to be a reason for it.
Well, yeah, hopefully we'll see.
And if not, whatever.
Yeah.
We have the Earth's defenders.
And pretty much what we have next is
Ant-Man and Wasp.
Ant-Man and Wasp, which is this year.
Yeah.
And then we get nothing until Captain Marvel next year.
Captain Marvel? I thought that was this year.
I think it's early next year.
Because next year, Avengers already slated for May.
Yep.
Avengers, 4.
Let me find out.
Yeah, so 2 movies, which Ant-Man and Wasp take place, what I've heard, is obviously before Infinity War, but no one knows how close. Or they do, and I just haven't seen it. But
March 6th next year.
Wow. Okay.
So that comes out 2 months before. So we only have one more Marvel movie this year. Well, we do have Venom, and there's questions around whether or not that has anything to do with the MCU Spider-Man. I've heard some speculation that there could be involvement because it's Fox's, but Marvel and Fox are working together because Fox is not being as stupid.
Not as rude.
Yeah. Well,
wow.
I think they're smart. So
that'd be so cool.
We don't know. It's obviously it's not like a Marvel Studios picture, but there might be some involvement there. Only other thing I'll throw out there is I know that Marvel, I'm pretty sure, owns the rights to Fantastic Four again.
Because Disney bought Fox.
Yeah, Fox, and we're wondering if at the end of the next Avengers movie, what the 4th phase is going to look like is more around the Fantastic Four rather than Avengers.
That's kind of sad, though.
Well, maybe a little bit, but Fantastic Four is like...
That's a crazy transition to think.
But like one of the biggest teams in Marvel Comics, we just haven't seen it done justice yet.
We haven't anyways, but
like Reed Richards is like the mind of Marvel, so it would be an interesting transition to go from this team to the next team where Reed is kind of the brains as opposed to Stark. You get Johnny Blaze, and who's maybe kind of like a Thor wit character. I guess so. You know what I mean? I don't know. So,
but it's so crazy to think that they would go from a point where we have all these characters, all this established history, to kind of push it to the side to start a new.
I mean, there will be crossover. you know, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I know they have to have Fantastic Four plans.
Yeah.
It would be crazy.
There are so many characters that they haven't even touched upon yet. But it's crazy because they're so, like, together in a lot of comics, you know? It's crazy to think that they are separated just because of money or whatever, you know, copyright reasons and stuff. But it's it's a good thought. I mean, I'm with you there. That'll be cool if they have plans for Fantastic Four, because then they could bring in Galactus, and like there are some serious villains they can bring in.
And we're still talking MCU. I mean, all these writers and producers who have been killing it for years.
And I think, I mean, Spider-Man's still fresh, so I think he'll be around for a while.
Spider-Man, Black Panther.
Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Guardians. I think we still have some time.
Yeah, I think we're about in a mid-level around there.
I would hope these characters. They might even bring in X-Men, which would be awesome.
Waiting to see what happens.
Yep.
Waiting to see. I mean, this Venom movie could be one of the first.
Like bridging.
Like, maybe. And I don't know. I mean, maybe that's too heavy of speculation, but I've read a couple articles that are like, maybe, because it's like by Fox in association with Marvel kind of thing. So I just think, I think Fox knows it's kind of silly to like, I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they want to hold on to what they can, but I think maybe just let it be a part of the biggest universe ever in film.
You're foolish not to join in on it.
Yeah. So, but I don't know how all that stuff works, but I'm excited to see Venom. I'm excited for Guardians. Oh wait, not Guardians. When do we get Guardians 3? That's phase way 4. Later.
Yeah.
Ant-Man and Wasp. That's what I'm thinking of. So I'm excited for Ant-Man, but it is weird. Only one MCU film left this year, which feels like not as many as we've gotten in past years.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, because we got like beat up with the rest last year. You know. It was Thor, Black Panther, other ones that I can't think of. Spider-Man.
Yep.
I don't know. They were just all coming out. We were like, I'll see this one, this one, this one. So I don't know. Disney, Marvel, they're killing it.
Yeah.
But
I guess that's that.
That's that. That is our spoiler-filled, beautiful review / conversation / party town / video podcast
/ I hope you've seen Infinity War more than once.
Yes. Definitely watch it. Take your kids. Take your dogs. Take your dogs, kids.
Don't take your kids. And if you are in a theater with your dogs and I'm in that theater, I'm going to be mad at you.
I'll be fine with it.
Unless they're quiet and sleepy and you let me pet them.
So, yeah, that's it.
That is it.
Tell us what your favorite scene was or something we may have missed to talk about.
Yeah.
Because we'll do a whole separate spoiler cast if there's something huge we missed.
Yeah.
That you think is worth us.
I don't know if I'm going to sign up for that.
I'll do it by myself.
Tim will do it.
Good job, Tim. Thanks,
okay.
Tim. Oh, hey, Tim. Oh, there's 3 Tims now. Tim. Have a beautiful life, folks, and we'll see you next Avengers.
I'm a snake.